Hey y'all, I'm gonna do a little bit more on the stats here for Arkansas, and they're not terrible, but by golly, they're not good either. Really, I don't know. It seems like at times that the stats are going up gangbusters, and then it seems like they kind of try to level off. The stat that I guess looks the worst is the ones that are the positives for COVID-19. They go up just gangbusters, but that doesn't mean that they're sick. Hospitalizations have gone down in Arkansas. Deaths, they keep going up though. On ventilators, down. So I'm hoping maybe the trend is going to start tapering off and start going down the back of this mountain that we're on. It's not good, and it's too bad that one thing is up and the others look down. But you know, in Pope County where we're at, the deaths have been, we've only have 14 deaths, which are 14 too many, of course, but there's other counties that got 2-3 times more than we've got. So I guess Arkansas is doing pretty good. And from what I can gather from my sister-in-law is New Mexico is going to really start easing up, because they seem like they pretty much have her good right now. Just hope it don't take off. But, okay, and that Linda's thing. The appointment with the spinal stimulator, the doctor that puts it in, he doesn't have to be a neurosurgeon or anything to put it in. So had to be in Little Rock at 6:30, I believe, in the morning. We were the first ones there. Even the nurses and stuff were still coming in when we got there. But anyway, we got there, and she got all her paperwork done, and boy, they took her right in, bang. About, oh golly, I don't know, I suppose an hour later, a nurse came out and said that she was doing good, and they were getting it good, and it was all, no problems being foreseen, that everything was going according to Hoyle, as they say, which was good. I was glad to hear. And it wasn't much longer after that, and they come out and said, well, she's all done, she's in recovery. The doctor has talked to her. I guess he talked to her about 3 words. No, 4 words. How are you doing? That was it. It's the last time she ever talked to him. But anyway, once they got her up, sitting in a wheelchair, and was talking to one of the guys that programs stimulators. They let me go back, and she didn't look too bad, not so worse for wear like she has in some of the other operations, let me tell you. But I took my truck because it's easier for her to get in and out of my truck. I had a little step that she could get on and then slide her butt in, and so we we got that. Problem is we had to have some paperwork. Well, they took us out and said, you know, get your vehicle, and got her in it. They said, now we're going to go back in and get the paperwork. And we sat there, we sat there, we sat there, and other people were waiting to drive into that area to let off people and pick people up. And we just sat there. It must have been a half hour. And all of a sudden, here they come out the door. Oh, we forgot you were out here. Wow, that did not sink well with me, but I didn't say anything. But anyway, and then the drive home. Oh boy, that was a long, long drive home for her. But she made it, flying colors. She's a tough woman, golly sakes. I can see why women can have babies and men cannot. Because men, if they'd have had to go through that pain, we'd have gave up the ghost. Especially if having a baby. Yeah. This world would cease to exist, because I don't think there's a man out there that would have a baby. And anyway, we get off of that. I've always said that, though, that men cannot take the pain like a woman can. Okay. So we got her home. She had to go to bed, of course. I mean, she was all in. And they said that the medications you've got are good enough. Wow. So anyway, we had to go 2 weeks, I believe, before they would turn the stimulator on. While they put it in, they turned it on to make sure she could feel it, that it was in the right spots, but then they turned it off. And we had to charge it and everything before she could use it. And I'll go through that stuff, charging of that stuff with you. I'll even show you the unit. We still have the control unit and stuff and the charging stuff. But it was bad for that 2 weeks that she had that in her. The pain that she was going through from the 2 big incisions that they put in her, and then sliding those leads under her skin, going to the backbone where they had to put another incision so they could visually see where the leads were going in. So, poor girl, I'll tell you, I am so proud of her for what she has gone through and what she has put up with. It's unbelievable. I wouldn't have. I'd have probably punched somebody out. But anyway, I'm going to leave it right there on her thing. As she had to be 2 weeks healing before they could turn the stimulator on. So we'll get back into the next video. We'll get into when they turned it on and what the process was and all that. And now we're going to get into the plastics again. Plastic, it's unbelievable. Totally unbelievable how much plastic is dumped into the ocean every single year. It's hard to picture how much it is, but it's they estimated 5.25 trillion, not million or billion, trillion pieces of plastic are found in the oceans and seas. That's trillion again, 5.25 trillion. That is just, to me, unbelievable. It's staggering. They say the mind is limited, and boy, I'll tell you what, to think of pieces of plastic to think of 5.25 trillion of them in water. Just, well, here's a visual. It would make an island twice the size of Texas. Wow, that's huge. Twice the size of Texas in our oceans. It's unbelievable to think that we are so absent-minded, wasteful, stupid, and I'll include myself in that. I did not realize that the recycling was such a joke, and that I'd say 95% of things that people think is recycled are not. Thrown away in dumps, taken to Indonesia. It's it's unbelievable. And here's another way of putting it. It's equal to 8 million tons. 8 million tons of plastic. And that would be, kind of put it in the thing, that 26,000 Boeing 747 jets. That's equivalent to the plastic is 26,000 Boeing 747s. Wow. I don't know. I've seen a dozen of them sitting in a row. I can't imagine 26,000 of them all piled in, and that's the amount of plastics that are wasted, or not wasted, that are thrown as waste because people don't care where they throw them. I don't care where I have walked, what park, what state forest, how deep I've been in it. I have found plastic bags, water bottles, the plastic water bottles from all the different water that you can buy, which 95%, 98% of those are not any different than what you get out of your tap anyway. In fact, a lot of those, especially Nestle's, is run out of the tap. Same water that everybody drinks, and they fill these things up and say it's spring water. It might have been sometime, but not when they put it in the bottle. But I guess they're not lying. It was spring water someplace. But it just, you gotta, and then the lakes are full, and if there's a river that runs out of the lakes, they run into the bigger rivers, and then they run into the oceans, which, you know, like the Mississippi, Missouri, some of these, especially the Mississippi. I just can't imagine the crap that is dumped into the Gulf of Mexico from the Mississippi. It has to be horrendous. I know people that have lived in Louisiana all their lives have said how much it has changed the mouth of the Mississippi down there by Louisiana, how much silt and junk and stuff has piled in there. But anyway, and here's another little quip. There's even plastic found in polar ice. That's polar ice, not the snow. Polar ice. Wow, that's that proves that there's not a place on earth that there isn't plastic somewhere. Um, it's horrible. Recycling is a fairy tale because it just doesn't happen like you see the commercials and all this stuff and the way the plastic companies and the oil companies say it does. They're lying. It's false. And the bad thing about some of the plastic that goes into the oceans is the microplastics. A lot of plastics are made out of microplastics, and those microplastics get into the water, and then little fish eat that plastic, and then a bigger fish eats that fish, and then a bigger fish eats that fish, and a bigger fish eats that fish, and guess what? We eat that fish that ate all the rest of the fish that all have microplastic in them. So guess who ends up with the microplastic in them? We do. Even ocean caught fish have mercury and plastic in them. That is food for thought. How in the world can the people that make this stuff live with themselves when they know everything that it is hurting, that is going on? And another good bad thing that happens is recycling places in the States and in Canada sell to Indonesia. They sell that garbage plastic to Indonesia. Indonesia don't want it, but it's smuggled in. They're paying the people over there to take our junk plastic, the plastic bags, the injected stuff, the stuff that vacuum cleaners are made out of now, and kids' toys. And a lot of it is just being taken out into the jungles and set on fire. And a lot of them are set next to villages and set on fire. Everybody should try to watch something on plastics in Indonesia. You will shudder when you watch it. It's just terrible. We need to make the plastic companies responsible for their actions. They are ruining our planet in leaps and bounds, and with the plastic it's something that's almost hidden, but it's still there. Everybody thinks that it will all break up, and no, it don't. So they know exactly what they're doing to this planet, and they don't care, because it would take too much of their money to clean up. They wouldn't get the $1 million bonuses and huge cars and trips abroad and yachts and all this good stuff. They wouldn't be able to get all of that stuff. And greed is one of the biggest things that's killing this world. Greed. People say money is the root of all evil. No. If you read it in the Bible, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. They will do anything to make it and to keep it. And they're so afraid that once they've made it, that somebody's going to try to take it away from them. So that's why they don't clean up any of their, you have to excuse me, that's an alarm for my pills. we would be better off throwing our plastic, except the milk jugs, and your plastic Tide bottles and softener bottles and the soda bottles. Those recycle. The rest of it, it would be better off to throw it in the garbage and let them take it to the dump. At least it's not blowing around in the oceans and the rivers. So I'm gonna get off of that. It's just a shame that we have to send this stuff to poor countries and let their people basically get sick with the plastic smoke and all this stuff. I'm going to do more of it in the next video, and hopefully give you some links to some of the places that you can go to see some of the videos and stuff. So thank you again for listening, for letting me carry on and go and go and go. There's going to be some pictures right after this about the sea animals and stuff that are hooked into the plastic, and they're not pretty. So just be aware that they're not pretty. So thank you again. We love you all. We pray for you all.